You guys kind of muster yourselves as Marcy calls off last call, and what do you guys do from here?
Well, aren't two of them passed out?
Uh,
5
they
more minutes, Mom.
they are severely intoxicated,
You believe I passed
barely
out?
conscious. They're standing. Mechanically, you guys have half speed on your movement and disadvantage on everything.
Where's Tulu again?
Uh, about 40 feet away from you. He just came downstairs from upstairs.
Tulu, looks like our crewmates might be done for the night. We might need to help them out.
Well, we got to go back to the boat then, don't so they can sleep it off. That's not very responsible of them, like I would be, but we can help them
That's
out.
true.
I got an idea. We can't carry them, can we? Because Kluroki's a big guy. He'd be the one carrying everybody.
They're currently standing.
Yeah, we are
After the
standing.
dwarves help them stand
We're saying
up.
this right in front of you. Like,
Yeah.
Slightly worse than being poisoned.
Hey, I got an idea. If they can't walk too well, I can turn into a horse and let them ride me.
wow. I can't argue with that.
Or if they can walk, they can walk. Doesn't matter. But I need one of them. I need Floki to sober up so he can read this note of mine.
Hey, isn't this is the first night on our shore leave, and we've kind of divvied the crew up in half, right? So shouldn't we stay on the shore and get rooms?
I mean, you could do what you like. You could get rooms, or you could go back to the ship to rest.
I guess we have our own beds, right? Like we haven't gotten that.
You have hammocks on the Twilight's Revenge, yeah.
Okay, so we should just go to the boat.
I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. It is like literally midnight.
How far
Tu's
away is the
birthday
boat?
technically over now. Not far.
Oh.
I mean, you guys are just in
Which
town.
is what?
Yeah. Clue, Floki, I think you've had about enough tonight. I hope you had fun.
Kind of grumbles incoherently.
Did it?
I
I
look
beat him.
I look at Kluroki and say, "Hey, just put your arm around me, big guy. I'll carry you back."
He looks out with a big old and little like
Oh no. You're breaking up, Mason. Mason?
Mason, you there?
I bet it's a microphone thing.
I bet it's a microphone thing too.
Yeah. Did you play on his phone last time?
Oh, yeah, I think that happened too. Well,
Well, Clear died. That was sad. No, just kidding.
He's dead.
maybe he's role playing.
Yeah,
This is like
they
what's
can't
happening.
talk. Yeah, but he's slur.
Tulu, are you gonna turn into a horse? Or are you just gonna?
No. If we're gonna, I mean, you said the
Just go
ship's
walk.
not that far.
Right. It's not.
I mean, or I mean, if it doesn't matter. What do you think?
Oh no, I think we like do the whole thing where so you get Kluroki, although Kluroki is like 3 times your size, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
You'd have to like kind of like push him up or something, and I get the other side of him around my shoulder, and I'm like, I'm especially glad that you had fun tonight, Kluroki. That happens in character.
And he's speechless.
Yes.
I did it. It
Hello.
was my job.
Get over
I
here.
made him have fun.
With that, you open the door to notice that it is absolutely pouring rain. Just absolutely pouring, which is great because you guys will be moving pretty dang slow. You guys head out, and it is really dark because most businesses besides the tavern have been closed for some time now. And there is no moon or starlight as it is currently pouring rain. As you guys kind of step out into the street, Kuroki and Floki just barely standing. You notice across the street is a guard. But you notice something seems a little off from him. Everybody go ahead and give me an insight check. The drunk characters at disadvantage.
Disadvantage on this, right?
Yes.
Okay. I had to switch to my phone because for some reason my phone is not working.
13.
Okay.
Nat 20 for a 23.
You need to drink
dear.
more.
Did you say an
Tulu.
insight check?
I rolled
Yes.
2 net ones for a 4.
This is not my roll. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. It's lower anyway. I just wanted to see how it worked.
right.
But I got a 7 plus 5 is 12.
12, 13, 1, and a natural 20. As you guys look over at this guard, something seems incredibly off. Flu is not even paying attention. I don't know if he even sees him. But Tulu, as you're looking at this guard who's standing there in the pouring rain, you notice he's like clenching against his throat. And as you're watching him, he drops to his knees. And you even notice that in the rain, you can see rain washing away blood from his throat as he's standing there.
I dropped Kuroki real quick. If he had his arm around me, I just shove him off and shove him to the ground.
Kuroki, give me a strength saving throw at disadvantage.
Jake, can you give my character also Mythic Mountains? Can you make Mythic Mountains? Thank you.
Wait, that was a load-bearing gnome? Thought it was just for show.
Well, it was, but
All right, Kuroki drops prone as you drop him.
I run over to the guard real quick. And
Right.
I see that he's bleeding and he's hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
I cast Cure Light Wounds on him.
All right, 1 second. As you get up to him, you look at his eyes, and they're just blank. You can tell there's no life left. At that moment, give me a perception check.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm having very spotty internet connection right now.
Okay.
And I missed everything after I said I rolled 2 net ones.
Okay. Well, that's accurate because Kuroki missed it too. Basically, you were dropped as Tulu noticed a guard bleeding out in the street.
All right. But Kuroki obviously does not know what's going on. Like, oh, I'm having fun. This is fun, guys. We should do this more often.
I rolled a 6.
With a 6, you feel a faint breeze, and you hear those whispers in your ear again from the wind, and you don't make out what it says, but then you are pushed back. Give me a strength saving throw.
7.
7. You are pushed back. You fall to your fall on your back prone as you hit against the wet pavement. Rain begins to fall into your eyes. The rest of you, give me perception checks.
And all this happened before I cast my spell. I wasn't able to cast Cure Light Wounds.
Yeah, you keep your spell. You notice that he was dead before you got there.
4.
Okay.
14.
Okay.
Does Key get a roll?
Yes.
Hey, look at that. It pays to not be intoxicated.
All right. Floki, you, with your vision blurred, in the dark, in the pouring rain, can't see a thing. You focus and close your eyes, and through Key's eyes, you notice something that Vagrant also sees. Let's see, go here. You see this figure. It's invisible, and you can't really see it, but what you do see is the rain distorted in the figure of what looks to be somewhat humanoid in shape. The creature standing behind the guard makes its way in between Tulu, pushing Tulu down, and begins to make its way this direction in the pouring rain. What do you guys do?
I'm sorry, could you describe this thing again?
It's basically an invisible humanoid shape that you can see barely distorted through the rain around it.
I cast Fairy Fire.
That's what I was going to do.
You cast Fairy Fire. It makes a dexterity saving throw, I believe.
It's 14.
It passes with a 17.
Lame. Very lame.
You go to cast Fair Fire, and in your drunken state, you actually, what happens, I don't think is you're able to fully complete the somatic components. You can go ahead and keep your spell slot. But
Okay.
you watch as this creature walks out. It makes it further out into the rain, and then eventually you can't see it anymore in the pouring rain, in the darkness.
I just look at my hands and I go, I, and I look at the back of my hands but it doesn't have any somatic components. What?
The guard drops. The guard drops dead on the pavement in front of you guys. The rain pooling up the blood around it, washing it down the stone street.
Tulu, are you okay?
Yeah, he just kind of, yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. He wasn't that tough, but you know what? I think we ought to get out of here before somebody sees us around this guard.
I think you're
Maybe
right.
they think we might kill them.
Let's get Floki and Clue and get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, you guys are able to make your way back down towards the ship. After that scene, you guys leave the dead body there, say it's not your business, and move on. You make it down to your ships, where you see a couple of the guys still keeping guard. Rhonda has been, you see she's got a lantern lit above the deck of the Red Herring, where she is kind of like sitting there under a tarp that she's contrived over underneath the sail. And across from you, you can also see the Twilight's Revenge, where Arton has been keeping guard. And he says, "You guys are back already? Did you? Are you guys all right?" He calls out to Clue, who obviously is intoxicated.
I give a very drunk thumbs up and let
Uh,
out another very loud belch.
He lets down a few extra ropes, climbs down, and begins to help hoist Kluroki up there. As you guys, it takes a lot of effort from all of you. Eventually, you guys are able to get Clue up and back into bed. What do you guys? You guys
Clue is
set
like
off?
trying to swat at them Clue's like trying to swat them while he's crawling up. Like, I can do this, guys. I can do this, but it's completely failing to do it at all.
Fantastic. Eventually, though, you are able to make it up there. If there's anything you guys want to do, you can. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and take a long rest.
Who's on sentry? Like, who's guarding the ship?
Right now, it's still
Not me.
Arton, but you guys can relieve him if you'd like.
Who is it?
Arton,
Arton.
yeah, he's one of
I will sleep on the deck.
in the pouring rain.
Exactly. I'll take
All
out
right.
my extra clothes and lay them all out. And I'll say, in the sailing business, we call this a rain shower. And then I lay down.
All right.
That's not a very big laugh at that joke.
Everyone who wants to can go ahead and take their long rest.
I think I would talk to the sentry and say, listen, be careful tonight. There was something out there. And then, like, just cryptically not explain any of it and, like, walk away then. And then go.
You make them incredibly nervous as they continue to watch guard. They are going to be a little bit more intent, though, as they watch. All right. Good thing you gave them that warning. They watch like a hawk as you guys are able to sleep through the night. We wake up on the morning of the 23rd. Still pretty overcast, drizzly, but not completely pouring like it was last night. You hear shouts of excitement in Dwarvish coming from across the docks, probably a good 800 feet away from you. You see some dwarves excitedly moving large crates and barrels. Other than that, there's not much of a note going on the docks at the moment. What do you guys want to do now?
Is there? This is gonna sound. This is gonna be a stupid question. Is there? Is it apparent to us why they are so excited about the barrels?
I think you can give me an insight check if you'd like.
This is a much faster method than what I had before, if nothing else. Let's see. That is a 7.
All right. With the 7, it looks like they're excited about work, whether they're getting paid or excitement to be paid. They just look like excited sailors moving boxes.
Well, that's nice. All right.
Hey, Vagrant. What do you think? Did you see that thing last night next to that guard? What was that?
I don't know. Sometimes I have seen spirits, things that are no longer alive. That lots of different kinds of things we've seen out in the islands and the northern seas. I've just called them the northern seas. Wow. But anyways, I've never seen anything like that, Tulu.
Okay.
The thing that worries me the most is that guard. I hope no one saw us.
I didn't do it. You was with me the whole night. I'm innocent.
Thank you. Well,
Is Floki awake?
what?
Am I awake?
That's up to you. Do you want to be awake?
I'd love to be awake. Am I hungover? How do hangovers work?
Give me a Constitution saving throw. For Mason.
At disadvantage or at regular advantage?
You decide.
I would roll it at regular advantage and get a 20.
All right. No, you're not hungover.
Excellent.
Look, he's young. He's fine.
Hey,
Oh, my liver
Floki.
feels great.
Hey, Floki, I need you to do something for me.
Sure, what do you need? What do you need? Is this about that foul wind last night?
Nah. This is a note. It's really top secret, I think, but it's in a language I can't read. So can you read this to me?
I possibly could. What language is it in?
Well, the halflings gave it to me, so I figure it's halfling.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't know halfling.
I thought you could read anything.
Just common Elvish and Orcish. And, arcane mysteries.
Okay, well, I'll just take it to the bartender. He'll tell me what it says.
Oh, that sounds like a solution.
Had my hopes up on this guy. He let me down again, but that's all right. I don't know what y'all want to do, but I want to go to the stumbling something or another.
I will join you at the stumbling thimble and I'll keep you safe.
Tumbling stump. No, that's a bartender's name. Right?
No. The tavern is called the Tumbling Stump.
It makes you wonder if it's a stump with poor, motor coordination, or if it's a stump that people tripped over a lot.
You're smart. Well, I take that back. You're smarter than what I thought you was, picking up stuff like that up. Well, I'm gonna go to town, guys. Anybody else going?
I will join you and protect you with my life.
It's time that we find what we can about this island if we're to bring Floki's vision to life here.
Yeah, I should probably try to remember what that was. Let's see here.
You were drinking. It was quite a speech.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm having quite a few issues tonight. I apologize. My phone does not want to stay connected to the internet, so I'm trying to use this microphone, which seems to be pretty sketchy. So we're gonna hope it works from now on.
All right. Well, I mean, if you are continuing to have issues, we will just bear with it. You can. I mean,
just
feel free to
unless
just
I'm like
say.
chewing on my mic, it doesn't want to register that I'm talking.
Okay. Well, don't feel pressure to keep trying if you get frustrated. But if you can stick around too, that'd be awesome. So make up, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to keep trying and you just get frustrated and want to go, that's fine. We can have Clue go on autopilot. Or he could just do a separate thing too if he wants to. Or we can just have you NPC follow them around, and we'll make do with what we can do.
I think I mean, I totally get getting frustrated. I definitely get that. But also, I think it's fine.
I think we're gonna see if we can't get this to work.
Okay.
I just have to hold it really close to my mouth because otherwise it does not want to pick up me talking.
Yeah. Whatever works.
Okay, so recap. What all were our plans? I know I was going to go talk to the bartender about the note the halflings gave us to find out about the druids or the farmers and what's going on out there. There was a couple other things we were going to pursue leads on, wasn't there?
Yes, there's the double fruits and the double fruit farmers,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is the halfling thing.
Mhm.
And there's a young sons syndicate, which is this kind of guild of everybody who's worth knowing. We should probably find out more about them. And there was primordials who were chained up, and I something about they're affiliated with the pirates who purchased barrels from us, which may be very powerful. And there's a lesser town across the lake from here, or something like that. Some nautical geographical terms. A lot of different reasons. The Morado Marauders, that's the name of the pirates. There we go. Mudport is the smaller town. And yeah, a lot of stuff to just investigate. Double fruits seem as good a place to start as any.
And also, House LaCroix. Where do we come across somebody? Was there a lady or something in House LaCroix that we talked
I
to?
believe it's pronounced Macrox.
McCrox?
But
Is it
yeah.
McCrox?
It's McCroy. You're all right.
McCroy.
You can make it.
LaCroix or McCroy? McCroy.
I do not have my notes, which is super sad.
Well,
LaCroix is
makes me feel better. My notes aren't much of anything. Surprisingly.
I think your notes are great.
I live in a, not to help myself, but I live in a town with a French name, which is not pronounced French by the people who live there.
I know those.
And it provides me a great deal of entertainment.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the tumbling stone.
Real quick, I am super excited that I'm seeing on VTT right now the red herring in the Twilight's Revenge, and that's just really exciting. That's really cool. That's all.
Where are they? Someone ping it.
This is. I would imagine this is the red herring. I would imagine this is the Twilight's Revenge.
Oh, that didn't successfully do things. Oh, there we go.
Because like
big old
there's our
tabletop.
NPCs, and you got the 2 red cells, and you got your little kin in there, and all the things.
I imagined our NPCs would be better looking.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it reminds me of one of those video games where you like go back to town and the little town is growing. That's fun. We need to put cannons on the Twilight's Revenge too. Then you know, and Tulu's little, yeah, that thing. I don't know what that would look like. Though.
Little hand cannon type thing.
Arquebus on a pivot mount.
Oversized arquebus.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Perfectly
cannons.
reasonably sized.
Peer out of midair.
Yeah, it feels like we're like building our estate. That's fun. That's fun. Anyways, yeah. And it's very handy because we could like pick who we want to go with us on the away team, to borrow a Star Trek term.
Yeah, we can pick our red shirts.
Yeah. Well, oh man, should we do that? No, we kind of worked it out, right? Like we're on shore leave, and then they're on the boats right now, and then we're gonna switch, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah,
the
and
thing?
they're kind of gathering. Well, they're kind of gathering information while they shore leave. We're like, hey, when everyone comes back, if you're sufficiently sober, quick convening of the gossiping.
I remember you
Find
said
out what
that.
everyone learns.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go find out about the fruit.
We're going to go to the tumbling stump, and I'm going to give the bartender the halfling note and see what it says and go from there.
All right.
They just handed me the note and said, give it to the bartender at the tumbling stump.
Probably like a vouchsafe. It lets him know that you're the good kind of short person.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's go.
Oh,
Yeah.
and everybody, if you see anyone murdered by the wind, try to search the body of the person who gets murdered, just for future reference.
I mean, okay, but we were a little worried. Okay, like two of our allies were drunk. We were in a dark alley in a rainstorm. Cut us some slack.
A dark alley is the safest place to loot a body.
I don't think.
Hey,
Yeah.
Captain, next time we run across that, we can leave the drunk guys there, and we'll go back and we'll see what happens. See if they get arrested and
There's
put in
that
jail.
too.
We have to go
I-
bail them.
I do not intend to get drunk again.
I
This is-
don't
this is
think
beyond
that
time.
you'll
we
be the
never
say in the matter.
intend to get drunk again. Clue. That's never how that works.
You guys begin to head into the town, passing by most of the dock workers, fishermen, and sailors across the busy harbor, eventually making your way closer to inner city, where you pass by the business district that Malik led you down to meet with Captain Hawks. Eventually make your way down the road where you were last night, witnessing the murder. As you pass by the scene, there's nothing but a clean street where it is quickly being walked by all the people of the city. As you pass that scene, you continue walking further into the city. You start to see more of the locals. You can tell because they're wearing a different attire. Most of the people, as you go further in the town, start to be wearing more clothing that you would recognize as like dwarvish, or at least dwarvish inspired clothing. Lots of sharp angles, gold filigree, and lots of clasps and pins, buttons and knobs. Very ornate looking clothing. Lots of deep reds and crimsons, lots of whites and creams. Most of the people downtown seem to be humanoids, or at least humans. Some of them do seem to be bigger boned, but you can tell that they're not full dwarvish. These look like mixed races you're quite unfamiliar with features of dwarves and humans. You also see a couple orcs with faces that seem even more harsh than the orcs you're familiar with noses that resemble more of snouts, like hogs. These larger orcs minding their own business, carrying pails of loose stones from building to building. You can see up ahead, there is a narrow alley. Like the road comes to a dead end, but there's like a narrow alley where the road kind of continues. With the buildings are very close to each other. People are literally like mall walking, like pushing up against each other's shoulders to get in and out of this alleyway. But you can also see two guards standing in front of it that are stopping people and exchanging coins with them as they're coming in and out. You would assume from this distance that there's probably some type of toll that they're paying. Um, but as you kind of look down the alleyway, you see the alley kind of leads up into a massive tree you can see in the distance. It's probably even a quarter of a mile away at this point, but you can see it because there's a massive tree that kind of stands up out of the cityscape itself. But from where you are now, you just see mostly people who are vending flowers and carrying large stones out of this alleyway. But at this point, you don't really know where some of the stuff is. You haven't really asked anybody, and you can feel free to go back to where you were, or keep going ahead, whatever you guys want to do.
Do you all know how to get to this tavern?
Now let's find somebody and ask.
All right.
Who do you want to ask?
Oh, real quick before, quick question. If somebody ever sends a message back in the ghillie bottle, do we need to check our ghillie bottle, tell you that we're checking it occasionally, or will you tell us if they send something back automatically?
If it's really urgent, it usually chimes. It literally like glows brightly when it's super urgent. So in other words, I will let you know if it's an emergency. But other than that, yeah, you just check it whenever periodically. You never know when someone will send you something.
Okay. Do we see anybody around besides the guards that we could ask?
Yeah, like I said, there are a lot of orcs that are coming from this alleyway, heading past you. There's also, you see a few different women that are look to be either trading, bartering, or like vending flowers in a group to your left. But other than that, there's just people like that seem busy walking past you. You're not exactly like in the middle of nowhere. You're kind of in this area that's pretty populated. So there's lots of people running by. So yeah, there's a group of women that you can see staying there. Lots of orcs are passing you this way. You see guards up ahead that are stopping people at the alleyway. But you can also continue in different directions to see other people too. Or you can just stop some random person as they're walking by.
An orc that's whoever's passing me by, an orc or whatever. I'll look at them and kind of poke them, or hey,
all right.
Tumbling stump. Where's the tumbling stump?
Give me a persuasion check.
15 plus 16.
With a 16, you poke the orc on the leg, barely notices you, looks down, he kind of grunts, and he turns back around and points over his shoulder and points back at the tree that's down the alleyway. Beyond the guards.
I give him a thumbs up. Thumbs up.
He just kind of nods and shrugs the big bucket of rocks on his back and continues to walk past you.
Hey guys, I think it's over this way.
All right.
Lead the
Is
way.
there a way through that avoids the guards?
Give me a perception check.
I will perceive. Can I use a key to get a bird's eye view of the surrounding area?
Yes, give me a perception check from her instead.
Rat.
But it'll be a much different perception check, so it changes the stakes and the DC. So
12.
with 12 from Key's perspective, as you look through her eyes at a much higher stance, what she can see is the building to the left of the alleyway appears to be a large business of sorts, and she can tell from her perspective that lots of people are walking through that building. as well. But from where you are, it looks you either have to go all the way back and through town and around, which looks like it would take a couple hours on foot, or you can go down the alleyway or through the building.
Right,
But it appears to be a funnel on purpose to move people through this direction.
Okay. I think if we wanted to try to avoid the guards, we could go through that business over there. It looks passable.
Why are we avoiding guards again?
Because they're trying to rob us.
Are they?
Yes.
I'm not sure they are.
Okay, well then you can go up to the guards and try to go past them, and if you make it through with all of your money, then we'll know.
Uh, yeah. I believe I can't somehow go past the guards.
All right. You can give me call it a stealth roll, which will be at disadvantage because of
Okay,
your
I'm
armor.
up. I was about to say, could I try and take my armor off before making the stealth roll? Just check in my backpack.
Yeah, you can do that if you'd like.
Okay.
You cut out. What'd you get? Oh no.
Mason, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
You can also type it in Roll20 if you can do that.
I guess not.
Poor Mason.
Well, sucks.
It does.
Well, Tulu say, "Hey, I'll check. I'll be right back." He just starts skipping, lackadaisically and right up like he's going down the alley past the guards, not even paying them any attention.
All right. The guards abruptly stop you as their spears come to a cross at the way. We're say retroactively that Clue might have already made it past or not, just in case. But as they stop you, they hold on there, citizen. You need to make sure that you've changed out. No copper is allowed beyond this point. You don't happen to have copper on you. It is a matter of life and death.
Oh, copper. Well, yeah, I got a couple of copper on me.
Well, you'll need to hand them over. Here. He holds up this waiver. You can see the waiver is like an official document of sorts. Has multiple stamps and wax seals on it. Some of the wax seals are like literally overlapping other ones, making them nearly impossible to understand or comprehend. And he says, all officials have deemed that no copper will be allowed past this point henceforth. And thus, City of Deepstone will allow you to trade all coins for legal tender like so. And he holds up this display case where it's got these little chips, like they look to be maybe made of wax or a soap or like some type of lard, but they're minted and pressed. Basically, they're like fake token coins. And you can see as all these people are passed from this angle, you can actually, or from this close, you can actually tell that everybody who's passing is literally handing them copper and taking this tinder instead and proceeding on. And then they're taking all those coins of actual copper and distributing them in this little window of that business building. And from here, you can actually tell that the business building looks like some type of bank of sorts.
I asked him, well, what's wrong with copper? Y'all don't like copper here? Is there a reason? I mean,
They kind of look at each other and they're like, copper is incredibly reactive with the ash stone. You cannot continue.
What?
Within
What?
copper.
Oh, does a ash stone? What's that? Is that some kind of mineral around here?
Yes, it's a mineral. And then one of them kind of chuckles, and the other one's like, yes. And also, you remember at the bar the night before, one of the alcohols that was poured out reacted to the copper as well, and it was like a display at the bar. It's like a thing of the show, but is part of it. So you have seen a reaction happen with copper recently.
Did it kind of
Um,
explode or?
yeah, it's like a chemical reaction where it kind of exploded and like foamed up and steam. Even that small amount that was like maybe even an ounce of whatever this chemical was, with a single copper piece, it foamed up and made a pretty big display. So in high quantities, it could be pretty dangerous, and they explained that to you.
Excuse me.
Oh. I'm just wondering if I have anything else that's Is it just coincidental? I wonder if there's anything else equipment-wise that we have that would react that way. But anyway,
You can look and see if you think you
I
have
don't-
anything that might, but I don't think so.
okay. I give them. I mean, I give them a couple of copper.
Okay. I mean, how much copper do you have? Because he's going to give you that minion back. If you have 0, then you have 0.
Oh, I really have 0 copper.
Okay, so you have 0 copper coins. You go to look and you realize that you don't have any on you. You show him your purse. You want to show him your purse and prove it to him?
I don't want them to see my big old purse. I was like, I don't have any copper. Do I need to go get some from some of my buddies to give you some? I don't have any copper.
No, it's not a toll, citizen. If you don't have any, give me a persuasion check.
Plus 11.
11. They kind of look at you. One of them is pretty disbelieving. The other one kind of shrugs and like, you're holding up the line. Go ahead, proceed. And they kind of usher you through forcefully. Begin to help the next person in line. It's an elderly lady. They help the elderly lady through. What are the rest of you?
Hello?
Yep. Hello.
Yeah, I've been here. I don't know if you saw what I
Yay!
posted roll 20, but I did get a dirty 20 on the stealth check.
Dirty 20. Then you've already made it through.
Okay.
You've already made it beyond the point. But you can overhear the conversation happening with
Okay.
Tulu as he's been ushered through. So you can make up your mind of what you want to do retroactively.
I want to tell. Well, I was going to tell him about the copper too.
I'm back.
Could I sneak? Okay, so I only have 4 copper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could I like try and stealth 4 of these copper into Tulu's purse?
Oh, stealth! Oh man!
Well, like, you want to try to do it where even Tulu doesn't notice?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have disadvantage on that.
That's an end game level thievery right there.
Yeah, that's like
That lawful good alignment.
yeah, lawful good against Tulu. I'm also gonna have you roll perception against his deception.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's gonna be deception, not stealth. If I said that.
Tulu should just respect
Deception or
this.
sleight of hand?
Deception at disadvantage.
Okay, what's my deception? Oh, that's even better. That would be a 21.
21. What was
I
your
rolled
perception?
18. My perception, or his perception, yeah.
My perception.
Mhm.
I rolled a natural 1. Plus
Okay.
3 is 4.
All right. You don't happen to notice, but how many did you say? 4 copper?
4 copper. So now I have 0 copper.
4 copper land directly in Tulu's purse.
So I don't know about it.
Correct. But we all do.
I don't.
So what? Fagrin and Floki, you guys are kind of standing out in this courtyard area beyond the line of people. What are you guys gonna do?
I imagine that I've been spying on that exchange with Key, and so I sort of relay the information to Fagrin.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem here. We can get along with the authorities and just have these, and I take it out, I just have these 8 coppers.
Yeah, it seems like I may have misjudged the situation, which happens every once in a while. You know, it's not a bad idea to be cautious, and I'll take out 7 copper from my purse, and Then I'll take out my bag of sand, open it up, pour the 7 copper into it, shake a little bit, close the bag of sand. We're good
Oh,
here.
all right. You're gonna try to deceive them and say you have more copper than you do.
No, I'm gonna say I have no copper.
Oh, so you're gonna try to hide your copper
You
in the.
just said, I'm. This is worse. They're not trying to steal our money. They're trying
Right.
to steal our explosives. I'm keeping my copper.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and have you first roll a sleight of hand to hide it.
Oh, I'm so slight. Very slight. That's a 4.
So the guard watches you put it in the bag.
Yep.
And then after that, what do you do?
Do I see him see me do that?
Yeah, it's direct eye contact moment. He's
Okay, I
focusing on other people, but out of like he literally makes eye contact with you as you're doing it, as he's ushering you.
I would like to maintain eye contact with him
Okay.
and just stare him down and take the bag of sand, hold it behind my back, and get Key over here to take it from me.
All right. Give me a deception check.
All right. I can be deceptive. That's an 18.
All right. Key officially gets a hold of the bag. Where'd she go with it?
Up.
Up, just straight up over your head.
Yeah, just
Have her
she's
roll. Have her roll me an athletics check to carry this bag of sand over your
oh
head.
great. She's probably fantastic at that. Let's see. Does a 5 get me?
A 5. She makes it about 10 or 20 feet above you, and no one seems to notice it. And all of a sudden, she drops it, and it lands on your head, and then you catch it again. Figuring, what are you doing? Are you going to continue on, or?
I'm just gonna give him my copper and sign the thing.
Yeah, you don't even have to sign it. You just give him the copper. He counts it. He hands you an exact exchange. So you have 8 of these tokens. They look like as you hold them, they feel waxy
I'm
to
sorry,
the
9
touch.
copper.
Oh, sorry, 9. Okay. But you have 9 of these tokens. They're wax-looking tokens, but they've been minted and pressed with the dwarvish rune. You would know it to be the rune of the letter A, and because you know dwarvish pretty well. And it also has this hammer symbol printed on it as well. So it's like a hammer and the letter A in dwarvish. As they hand it to you, you have yours, and you make it through the line. Eventually, you meet up with Roki and Tulu on the other side. Floki, flustered, having not succeeded so far, what do you do now?
Well, I continuing eye contact throughout all this process.
Yes.
I will open up the bag of sand, reach in, take out 6 coppers, go over to the guard and hand them over.
All right. So you still have your one.
Still have 1.
Yep. Okay. He takes him. He looks at you. I'm gonna have him roll insight, and I'm gonna have him roll 2 insights, one for the other guy too. They look at you. Give you one more deception roll. I'm gonna have it at advantage because I believe in you.
Love to hear it.
Oh my god.
17.
Oh my goodness. So one of them completely believes that you have it all. He hands you back your tokens, and the other one stops you, like grabs you up by the shoulder, and he looks at you and he says, "Are you trying to kill somebody?"
Not yet.
And you just see this like look of sadness on his face. He lets you go
Aw.
and kind of forcefully ushers you through.
This has been a victory.
As they continue to
that's-
usher people through, from the other side of it, eventually you guys are kind of like pushed out of this area by people, like the masses of people trying to make their way through. Orcs are coming the opposite way, so orcs are coming back towards the alleyway, carrying these large boxes or buckets on their shoulders, almost like small mine carts on their backs that they're carrying past you guys. Eventually, you make it out into an area where the street kind of opens back up into like a normal street. Um, from here, you can see the backside of that bank-looking business called Obby's Archives. And across the way, you can see a building that looks like some type of glassware shop called the Slippery Stool. You can see a couple different buildings that look like local residences. Beyond the way, you see a place that says Bonkers really big on it. Across from that, you can see a place called the Kettle's Cry. But from here, you can see this tree at a distance feet away from you. But these are the places you see nearby.
We see a tumbling stump.
No, please press X to continue.
Yeah, I press X to continue.
You guys walk further down. See a place called the Lively Lamp. You see a place called the Bold Limb. You see a place called Bobbles Bobbles. You see a place called Beauty by the Bird's Eye. You see a place eventually called the Tumbling Stump. As you make your way down the street, eventually the road itself is uprooted by these large roots of a tree that open up into an archway. So this tree is like 40 feet in diameter. It's this massive tree, and there's a large opening in it where you can see the sign of the Tumbling Stump is hanging from. This perfectly carved hole in an otherwise live tree. I'm gonna say Tulu can give me a nature check on this tree. And Kluroki, you can give me a religion check on this tree.
17.
14.
14. Clue, with a 14, you have heard of trees like this, trees that are pretty big, and you know that they're rumored to have roots that go all the way down to the core of the planet. Literally, they say that their roots never stop seeping, and that you're pretty familiar with a tree of this size. It has to be one of these trees. You would both know that these are called Lombus trees. Tulu, you also know that this is a Lombus tree because you had one in the village where you grew up. Um, Other gnomes, forest gnomes, think of them as holy or sacred trees. Maybe Tulu doesn't because Tulu doesn't really care about that kind of thing. But you also know that the leaves of Lombus trees are pretty special because you can hold them up to the sky at night and see the stars even when it's cloudy. So you've seen trees like that before, but yeah, this massive tree that kind of uproots the middle of the street, and beyond this tree, you can see um, more shops and businesses. You see from here beyond the tree, you can see Tones and Stones and what looks to be some type of chapel. Beyond that, you see a place called Beams and Blazes, and just more businesses down that way.
Does the chapel have obvious religious iconography on it?
You can give me a religion check.
All right. Kluroki, does that chapel have obvious religious iconography on it?
Kuroki, also give me a religion check.
I'm religious. I'm a very religious person, actually. For another 14.
All right. What'd you get, Floki?
Don't worry about it.
Um,
I got a 4.
Kuroki, as you look at the chapel, Floki points it out to you. You don't recognize any of the markings on it. There's a large stained glass window on the side of it. That's kind of like your only indication from this angle or this distance of what it would actually be. You don't notice anything particular about it from this. You don't really know. No.
I tell him it's religious.
Fascinating.
If it's a
I learn
religious
something
club.
new every day.
When Tulu sees the Tomes and Stones store, he perks up because he's always been interested in finding tomes these hertotomes that increase your ability scores. Your strength, your dexterity.
So real quick, it's called tones, like the sound of a tone,
Well,
tones
then
and
never
stuff.
mind. Tulu looks at that.
But
I thought
the
that was
place
an
called
M. Crap.
the place across the street called Beams and Blazes, that looks like it's actually a bookstore, ironically.
Ooh, I didn't know you were so interested in music and rocks. You can head on down there if you want.
You'd be surprised what this druid. I mean, like all kinds of things. Because one day I'm going to be all powerful, and to do that,
Speaking of you being
learn.
all powerful and a druid, you can talk to this tree, right?
Well, I could, but I don't.
Feel that.
I don't right now. I'd have to take a long rest.
Yeah.
I,
It
I,
takes a little while to learn a new language, in my experience. It's kind of a whole thing.
well, I can talk with plants, and maybe that would work with this one. I don't know.
It is a plant.
But like I said, I'd have to rest and memorize. Learn some new skills.
Okay.
Well,
All right, well, into the stumbling tump, and I would like to walk in.
All right, assuming everyone else does too. All right, as you guys walk through this perfectly carved entryway, there is a small symbol over your head. None of you can read it. In fact, it doesn't. It looks worn by time, and like it was carved a long time ago, as if the tree is slowly healing from the deep wound in it. You walk through, and the door springs open almost as if it's excited to welcome you. Walking through the doorway, there are these long, thin roots that are white and almost hair-like that kind of tangle about your heads, kind of making your way past them. You almost trip on this stone carving of a fox that's literally right in the way of the entryway. The stone carving of a fox that has its feet look to be tangled in the floorboards itself. Between this and that, everyone give me a dexterity saving throw as we're walking in here.
Oh dear. If you're within 10 feet of me, you get a +3, by the way.
Yay,
Hey.
that would be buddy.
That's a 14 for me then. And I would
24.
like to reach up and smack the symbol thing that was carved into the thing.
All right.
11.
13.
All
Oh
right.
dear. I think I lost internet again.
I can still hear you.
Yeah, we
Hello?
can hear you. Yes. Hello.
You guys all froze for me, so assuming I lost internet for a hot second.
Testing,
But
testing. 1, 2, 3,
I
1,
can
2,
hear you.
3. Excellent.
Hello?
I
Okay,
can hear
good.
you.
We can all hear each other. Okay, we're great. I got a
We have an
24.
accord.
You guys walk through the doorway, almost tripping on these massive roots that kind of rip up through the floorboards. You're able to make your way through without falling down by the namesake of the tavern.
Someone should bring this place up to safety code.
It's such a pretty tree. When Tulu's walking in, he kind of puts his hand on the side of it and feels it and caresses it. Such a pretty tree.
They say that you can't judge a book by its cover. Or future books, as that case may be.
Look, this ain't a book. This is a tree. Silly guy.
It's that's like the difference between a child and an adult. See, time does things.
Once you guys make your way inside, you see hanging from larger roots. The center of the tree is completely hollowed out to looks like probably 40 feet up, but there are still these large beams of natural looking roots that kind of hang downwards. You can see these gleaming baubles of bright amber that's been enchanted and it glows like a faint honey-like color, which fills the room. You can see a barkeep across the way tending to some barrels. But other than that, you can see groups of individuals hanging about and a large wooden staircase that is roped off. And it says staff only on it. But other than that, you can also see there are these tunnels that kind of get narrower and narrower the further they go out, kind of root-like in nature. But yeah, you can see a staircase that leads up to the second floor, that's been roped off. Lots of tables of patrons enjoying themselves. And other than that, you can see the barkeep across the way.
I get excited and I go scuttling up to the barkeep.
All right. You do, and he almost doesn't acknowledge you as he seems to be busy working on something. But eventually he comes to the edge of the counter, looks down at you, and he's like, "Hey, what will you be having?"
Well, I tell you, do you know what? I was over in another tavern the other day, and I talked to a few guys. I forgot their names: Randy, Mandy, Dandy, and somebody like that. Is four of them. You know, the good little guys, and they gave me this note to give to you.
Oh, a note.
Yeah, can you tell me what it says?
Yeah, one moment here. He takes it and looks at it, kind of closes one eye and squints a bit. He goes, "This is in halfling."
Yeah, I can't read it. Can you read it? They told me to give it to you.
Uh, uh, be a moment. He puts it down. You see him reach for a book, holds it open, and he starts looking at it and looking at it and goes, "It might take a while. Can I get you a drink while you're waiting?"
Oh yeah, I'll take a tea.
All right. He takes a jug out from the cupboard, pops the cork, pours it out. This deep brown liquid fills the cup. He quickly holds it over a flame, and this simmers out of this little porcelain cup, and he sets it down, and he goes, "And the house special." He pulls up, almost seemingly from behind the counter. It seems to be out of nowhere. He pulls up this large wooden stick that has a large glob of honey on it, and he drops it in the cup. He goes, "Have this."
Well, thank you. How much do I owe you for that?
Oh, 3 coins.
3 coins. Uh, I'll reach in my purse
Mm-hmm.
and I grab 3 coins
Okay.
and
You
I
grab.
pull them out and I think they're gold because
Oh,
that's all I think I have. And so I don't know what they are.
probably. He looks at it, uh, takes a second look, and he's like, "No, no, you're too generous." He slides 2 of them back to you, takes the one, tucks it in his apron.
Okay, so they were gold coins. Okay.
Yeah, takes the gold.
All right. Thank you. Just let me know when you get that read because
Yeah, yeah. You can see he's obviously translating it between this like book that he has, and he starts translating this note. You can tell he's not that bright of a person. It looks like it might take him a little bit.
okay. Come on in, guys.
I'll
The
take
weather.
one of those teas as well. That looks
All right.
delicious.
You make your way up there. Let's see. Did I bring you guys over here? Just making sure that I brought you guys over here. Okay.
Oh, are we in?
Yeah. We have VTT, so I was like waiting for you guys to move tokens. It's okay. We don't need to move tokens. It's fine. You make your way across tavern. You overhear dwarves across the way seem to be arguing about something. You see another table where you see some very colorful individuals, a lizard folk, a small frog person, a lady in a fancy outfit, an orc and a dwarf, all seem to be conversing quietly as if they're trying to hide something. You can also see a silver-like figure, a person that has metallic features, talking to one of these feathered fellows. These lots of these bird folk-looking creatures seem to be waiters of sorts, handing people their goods that they have ordered and coming back to the opposite end of the counter where they can grab some more. Um, as they're doing that, you also order a tea. So he's going to say, 3 coins for you, 2.
I take out 3 silver pieces and give it to him.
Oh, you're too generous. He slides 2 of them back to you, takes the one, puts it in his pocket, says, "What brings you all to the Deep Stone?"
Well, part of a sailing company. Making our,
Who isn't?
what?
He said, "Who isn't?"
Yes, I'm sure that you get plenty of our kind here.
You know?
Yes. Sailors and tradesmen, mostly.
Aye, we're
I'll pipe up. But have you heard of the Crimson Skipadoos?
You mean those blood skippers? Yeah, I've heard of them.
Well, I smile and I look. Well, here's one of them right here, and I point to Fagrin.
Oh, boy. He, sits up straight and, tries to straighten his apron out. He kind of, wipes the ink away from his shoulders that he doesn't realize that he's been, leaning into the ink that he's been trying to translate this thing, kind of slides it all across the bar top, and he was like, name's Block. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Block, Fagrin. Very nice to meet you as well. And this is my fellow Crimson Skipperdo, Dulu, one of my lieutenants.
Ooh, wow. I didn't think we'd have champions here today. Please. He reaches in his bag and gives you guys your coins back. He's like, keep them. It's on the house. Anything to keep the patronage of such fame.
Oh well, you're very kind. Is that a damned cat?
A cat? You point over. What you think might be a cat turns to you, tips its hat. It is clearly a small frog individual. Everyone can give me a history check real fast.
It's definitely not clear. You said history?
Mm-hmm.
17.
8.
5.
Kluroki, you remember this individual from the Sheesh match. In fact, they were the halftime show. This figure and this jester-dressed lady next to him.
I would like to greet them and tell them that they had a great performance at the halftime show.
You
Hello?
gonna tell them that?
Well, yeah. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna greet them. I'm gonna be like, "Hello, I'm Kluroki, whatever," and then say that they had a great performance at the halftime show at the Sheesh match, the annual Sheesh match.
The frog grins as its large mouth kind of reaches both sides of its head, and it goes, "Roar, roar," and the lady comes and pats it on the back. It's like, "Those are mighty fine, kind words. Who are you?"
I introduced myself as Kluroki, and then I introduced Tulu and Fagrin and whatnot.
Thank you. Yeah, we practiced that sketch quite a bit, actually. It took us quite some time.
Well, you performed it excellently.
Well, thank you. That's flattering.
I had to zoom in, but I do now see a frog in a nice, very fine hat with a lute.
Yep. Anyway, she looks pretty grateful for the compliment. Eventually, the barkeep finishes translating it, and he leans over to Tulu, and he says, I think I have to take you to my boss.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
You might have to make that up for yourself.
Okay, but my friend's coming with me.
All right, that's fine. I don't really care. He says. You can tell his demeanor completely changes. He walks to the other side of the bar and opens up the way that he can get through, closes it behind him. He bends down and locks it so that no one else would easily get behind there. Comes around and leads you all to the staircase. Once you all make your way over there, he unfurls it, releases the rope, and begins to climb the staircase.
I'm going up. I don't know if everybody's going. I'm emotional. Anybody want to come up with us?
Mm-hmm.
I will protect you, Tulu.
Roll 20s.
I'll protect
There it is.
Floki.
Sorry, what did you say? You're gonna go? Cool. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm trying to figure out where to go first of all.
It's all right. I got you.
Okay, you got me.
And I yell before I go up. I yell to the crowd. I was like, If y'all don't see us again, just know y'all got to see the Crimson Skipadoos.
As you guys make your way up, it's funny because you say that, and there's not really much of a cheer. You remember the night before at the Busy Beaver, you guys got quite the reception. Here it appears that there was very little care. In fact, you actually heard some disgruntled noises coming from a couple dwarves from the other end. Eventually, though, you make your way up the staircase, and the music fades in the background. What you do happen to notice is this Brock guy looks pretty nervous as he leads you guys up here. He leads you up to this little balcony area, and the ceiling begins to narrow to a point, almost like an A-frame attic-like area. And he guides you guys across this hallway, eventually leading to a room, like a big door. And he's nervously messing with some keys. And he turns around and he looks at you, Tulu, and he says, "Who gave you this note?"
So a halfling at the other bar we went to, and I don't think I wrote down their names. I can't remember. Randy, Mandy, it's a whole family.
He looks at it and he says, "If I have translated this correctly, then we all might owe you a great deed. I don't know how this will go, but I do hope that you all behave yourselves.
Have you met us? Of course we'll behave ourselves. I can't believe this.
Really gets a mischievous grin.
I mean no disrespect, champions, but very few people have ever met Boss. And in fact, if they meet him, they rarely leave." He says that, and he slowly reaches, and you see his hand is trembling, and unlocks the door. He opens the door. Everyone give me a perception check as he opens the door.
Six. Ooh, that's
Are you serious?
Wait, no, hold on. I got a 5.
We just
That's
rolled
wrong.
triple. That was.
Does Key get a roll?
Is she there? Then
Yes.
Then yes.
Key, you are our only hope. 11.
So as you all walk through, you see this area where there are these mirrors hanging from strings, dangling. The mirrors like slowly rotating, as if they're like under some type of enchantment to scan the room. All of these different mirrors. Key, as she flutters in, she notices a lot of these mirrors resemble the ones in the hallway underneath Hanker Jenkins.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's bringing back some bad memories.
But she doesn't happen to notice anything but her own reflection or you are all reflection as you all walk in. There are all these mirrors in this area. Brock stands at the doorway, anxiously ushering you all to walk through. And he says, whoever's in the back, I guess it would be like Fager or Kleroki, and he's like, once you are in, I'll close the door behind you.
What are we doing exactly?
The note says you have to meet with him. Please.
Lou, what are you getting us into?
Yeah, hey, Brock, before you go, what exactly did that note say? You didn't tell me.
I can't find words. I just, and you can see like he looks nervous as if he's like
I
done
can
something
tell he's
wrong.
lying. I think he's lying.
You can give me an insight check.
Yeah, can I see like do an insight check as well to see if I know what this guy's up to.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus
Better
3. Ian.
Insight. That's another 6.
All right. From what you guys can tell, looking at this person, he looks completely honest. First of all, he looks really nervous and anxious. He looks like someone who's trying to do their job, but he looks like he's afraid of making a mistake, like he's already done something wrong.
Is there something you're not telling us? Because I mean, you look kind of nervous.
I am nervous. Please, I have
What?
a whole
Okay.
tavern to keep.
What's your boss's name?
Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
Does that name mean anything to me?
History check, please. Anyone else who wants to know can also roll a history check. See if knows familiar.
That's a nat 1.
All right.
That's a nat 2.
Dice are telling a story.
16.
Earlier, and then now all of a sudden my dice are like not a fan of me.
I was afraid of that. I got a 14.
Both Vagrant and Tulu, you don't know the name, but the way it feels as you hear it in your own mind, it's almost as if it echoes a bit. And Vagrant, you can't put your finger on it, but it sounds vaguely familiar. Maybe you heard Klaus or Calhawk talk about it once upon a time.
Heard what name again?
Klaus or Calhawk were
No.
saying this name before.
What
Sephiroth.
name? Sephiroth. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. I feel like I have actually, Ross has heard that name, but okay.
I feel
Also,
like Mason's heard that name, but I don't know.
Also, Tulu, when you think of that name, you vaguely remember the cat that was let free, that climbed across the ceiling. And you don't know why you think of that, because that individual never gave you a name, but that's what you think of as you do. Otherwise, you don't know the name, no.
So just as a note to Ross, you do have a cat statue. Just remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so Tulu, do you walk into?
Yeah.
All right, so everyone
We're all
goes
gonna
inside.
die.
Everyone goes inside. He locks the door behind you, and he continues back downstairs to take care of his tavern.
Did that
We're all gonna die.
did that person just lock us in a room?
He did.
I think he locked us in a room.
I'm gonna go try and open the door.
I'm entirely confident that everything will be fine. I haven't been this assured since last night.
Right. I take out both
Last
my
night
pistols.
did not end well for either one of us.
I take out
Last
one
night
pistol.
was great. It was
Last night
fantastic. You made an
ended up with me
important step
waking
in your
up.
journey.
Very hungover.
We will
I'm
fix
still
you
not
in time.
exactly not hungover.
And you're doing great.
As
I'm
you
gonna
guys,
try and open the door.
you check it. It's clearly locked.
Yeah, he did. So he did lock us inside.
I would like to throw my arms out in front of me and say, Master Sephiroth, my gnomish companion desires an audience with you.
As you say this, these mirrors hanging in every direction you look all turn to face you. So now everyone, every direction you look, you see Floki's face.
I
there's
gestured
no
to
way
Tulu.
avoid
No, that one. The gnomish one.
You say that, and still all the mirrors face you. And everywhere you look, there's Floki's face from every different angle. Like even in possible angles, there's a mirror reflecting a mirror which shows Floki's face to you. In every direction you look. Yep.
I hold up the note and I say, good man Sappho, I've got a note that a halfling told me to bring to you.
You all hear this faint voice seep into your minds. It says, I've been expecting yous for a long time, see?
This is a dragon. I think
It
it's
feels
a
like a
dragon.
dragon. It feels like a dragon.
I'm no dragon.
Those are clearly mirrors.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say, Caleb?
I said those are clearly mirrors.
They are.
See?
They show me things you are trying to hide.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Master Sapphirow, but, well, I would very much like to actually see you if that's possible.
No. That is
Well,
not allowed. I do
Oh,
not
one
trust
of the
you yet.
mirrors.
Why would I trust you? I can't trust you. I've not even met you yet. And you won't meet me until I say it's time to meet me. Meeting Sephiroth on the first occasion.
I see.
You all know who I am.
No.
Of course you don't.
Oh, you appear to have us at a bit of a disadvantage then.
Of course I do.
May I
The
may
table
I
is always
inquire
stacked in my
as to who the good Sephiroth is?
odds. No, you may not.
Okay.
This is a game that I love to play. But more importantly, you all are the most important piece on the table.
Uh-oh.
I
You see,
despise
you
being
all do not have a tie with any other faction, nor have you made yourselves enemies with any faction. Thus, you all are the movers and the shakers.
Well,
I'm scratching his head.
about this note, our friend received it.
Yes, I'm aware. And that note has brought you here. To me.
We see. Well, and I look at everybody else and I'm like, is there something that you wish for us that keeps that door locked then?
That door is locked so that no one gets afraid in case, I am seen by accident.
Okay, well, since we're all eager to then continue on, get the door open, and we don't want to be getting to that point you're saying there, what is it that you'd have with us, Mr. Sephiroth?
It's quite simple. I would like you to take my key to Galligan. But only if you will do it out of your own free will. You see, if I simply told you to do it and you did it, then it wouldn't be very meaningful. But if you do it because I want to start a friendship or like a bond or like something like that with you all, and then you do it, well, then it's more meaningful.
Well, I want to be your friend. I don't have a whole lot of friends, and I could always use another one.
Of course you want to be my friend. I am Sephiroth.
Well, hey, Sephiroth, I do got a question. Can we ask you questions? Is that okay?
All of the mirrors shift to reflect Hulu's face. Why, of course.
Can you tell us, I was talking to these halflings the other day, and they're the ones that gave me this note in case said, bring it to you. And I was just trying to figure out what's going on with the fruit at the farmers, that the farmers are dealing with, and it's going bad or something. And we're just trying to figure that out. Could you help us figure that out? Do you know what's going on?
Oh, yes, the double fruits are a hot topic at the moment. Most of the movers and shakers are getting their hands dealt in double fruits of sorts. Yes. That's very clear. But I'm afraid I don't know much. You see, I am very limited in my access to information locked away in this room. That's another reason I'm hoping we could make little arrangements here.
I see. Well, although Tulu, my lieutenant here, is interested in more friends, and I look at him, I believe you'll hope that you'll understand that we're a business, and so what is it that we could hope to maybe get out of delivering a key to someone?
The mirrors stop focusing on Tulu and begin to start freeing up, moving in different directions. You happen to notice for a moment, all of the mirrors kind of give way, and you see a glimpse beyond. You see a moving scale that drips a green ooze, and then quickly is covered back up. Says, I do have gifts and talents, although some of them have been stolen away. What do I have to offer? A gift, a gift. What gift could there be? Eventually, you see the mirrors give way and reveal a pedestal where there is a large gem. All of you could quickly tell this is probably the largest gym you've ever seen, except for Tulu. Tulu, you've seen gyms about this size. This gym kind of glitters and shines in a moment, and then it's quickly hidden away behind the mirrors. These mirrors are also like, to give more context, they're in frames. Like these are mirrors to like be hung on places, and they're all kind of like dangling. There's dozens and actually probably hundreds of them. Some of them are smaller, like hand mirrors, like you would see in salons. Some of them are quite larger, like you'd see hung on buildings. But throughout all these different mirrors, you hear this faint voice again, and he says, I'll be honest with you, Fair Harbor. I don't have a whole lot. But with your help, I think I might have a lot.
I don't remember giving you my name.
But I can see it.
Well, that gem will do nicely. Now, the only thing that remains then is this key and then a Galligan. Can you tell us about those two things?
Yes, of course I can. Galligan is a shopkeeper on this very street. We used to have quite the partnership back then. He works at a place he calls the Slippery Stool.
So, take a key to the Slippery Stew, and then we get this gem.
Yes. But again, if you do it just because I asked, then that's not very meaningful. But if you do it out of an act to build our friendship, then you may have the gem.
I want to be your friend. I don't care about the gem.
Yes, of course you would. I like you.
Most people do, except well, there's a few that don't, and they're not. They're I don't know about them, but you're pretty powerful, smart guy. I can already tell this. Do you know what that whispering in the wind is? I hear sometimes.
That is a sound I cannot hear, though I am familiar with it.
What is it?
That is a sound only druids know. That is the nature speak.
Ooh, who could I talk to learn more about that?
I do not know. You would have
Oh,
to find someone more learned than I. The Grand Master Sephiroth?
I didn't think there's many people more learned than the Grandmaster Sappho, but okay.
You hear a chuckling sound all in your minds. The mirrors begin to reflect a large scroll that appears to be hung somewhere in the room, though you don't know where it is. And it says on it, it looks like agreements, like a treaty that has been signed long ago. You see all these different names that have been signed on it. And he says, this used to be of great importance to me. I'd like to see it be important again.
What is it?
It was a treaty of the Free Isles. And things have happened. Dwarves have made a clan for themselves, and pirates have gotten power. The rich are keeping their wealth for their own deeds, and here we are, the weak, no, nameless, faceless individuals are left to suffer. At this point, Tulu and Kluroki, give me perception checks, please.
Floki, it sounds like you two have something in common.
13.
With a 13, you see quickly between a couple of the mirrors, in between the frames, you see a large bulbous eye with a cat-like pupil on it, oozing this green liquid from it, almost like tears, but they're thick and mucousy as it drips from it. Then the mirrors quickly close back.
20.
With a natural 20, Fluroki, you happen to see. Hang on a second. You happen to see this large pile of goop, like a bunch of scaly flesh that is hung together, melting under its own weight. Large bulbous eyes that kind of dangle from it in different directions. This large, thick mucus-like liquid just kind of oozes off of it, slopping, that you would imagine makes a great slopping slop sound that you don't hear anything from. You also happen to notice that as you're looking at it, you look in your peripheral vision and there's a massive eye at your shoulder, and then you go to look at it and it's gone, and there's just a mirror reflecting your own face back at it.
Would I know what this is?
You
Or
can
am
give me a history check.
What kind of check? Sorry.
History.
I don't know what it is. I got a 3.
What you do know is there's nothing in existence you've even read about that looks like this thing.
I'm gonna try and keep a very neutral face. Like
Mhm.
not trying to exactly hide the fact that I saw it, but like not react horribly to it.
Yeah, I think in your pretty stoic face, I don't think Dragonborn faces are all that easy to read anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm just gonna kind of keep it to myself for now, because I mean, there's not much I can do with the information right now. 'Cause
You could tell us. But
I
guess
could,
not.
but then he would know that I know, and that might lead to all sorts of issues. But he might know that I know because I'm trying to keep it a secret. Now, I don't know. There's too much stuff going on.
Well, everyone, what do you think? Would you just take this key or
whenever-
what?
Well, when I saw the cat's eye, I'll sit there and I'll go, "Hey, did y'all see that?
Nope.
No.
Hey, Saffron, was that your cat's eye that I just saw, that big old eye?"
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no cat's eyes. Why would I have the use for a cat's eyes?
With that green ooze, kind of like you got an infection or something. You need me to heal you, cure
Give me a
wounds,
wisdom saving throw.
huh?
Wisdom saving throw, Tulu.
Here. If you're within 10 feet of me, you get a +3 to that.
I did good. I rolled a 18 plus 6, which is 24 plus whatever you said.
So a
Basically.
normal person would have fallen asleep, but Tulu, a person of pure joy and adrenaline at all times, is able to ward it off. You feel a magical presence try to shush you by putting you to sleep, and you're able to ward it off.
But I get the idea they're trying to shush me.
Oh, please, Tulu, I would. You just heard nervous noises coming from the distance.
Well, there's not any other way out of
If
here,
I-
and we're just taking
I-
a key down the street. What were you going to say, Floki?
I was going to ask about this Treaty of the Free Isles that you mentioned. I'm
That does
curious.
seem rather important.
Tell me more.
Can I trust you?
No.
Yes.
You are one shrouded in spring light. Warmth about you, yet I can't seem to tell. Who are you?
Well, I'll tell you my name if you tell me yours.
Hmm. Deal.
I am Floki, the Lost, sailor of seas, finder of places, caster of eldritch blasts.
There's a long pause as you all kind of get the idea that this individual doesn't even know what half of those words mean. And then there is a faint reply. I am Sephiroth. I
Poe
would
just kind of
hope
chuckles to himself.
that if we could make this agreement, and like on the floorboard, you just hear a as a key just slid out from the shadows. And maybe I will give you more information about the things that I know and the things I used to know.
Floki, these free isles, it sounds similar to what you'd said.
Certainly something to be explored. Maybe there is something interesting here. But I don't know. He's real quick to bring up like friendship and that, but he's just I don't know. I don't
What's
feel like we
the
got a
worst
good
that could happen?
introduction on the guy. That's not a good way to start a friendship.
We can always go about it the way we always do,
He
Floki.
might just be self-conscious.
We'll just take the key and see
No
how it goes
one
from
who
there.
has this many mirrors in their room is self-conscious.
I go and take the
Um,
key.
All right, you pick up the key. It is a large brass key, with a rune on the end of it. You would recognize the rune to be dwarvish. And it says something, which doesn't really translate that well, but basically, it translates to heavy.
Okay.
As you pick it up, you also hear a faint voice echo, uh, Floki the Lost. How does one make friends?
Well, it's a good idea to start with telling someone who you are.
I am Sephiroth.
And I appreciate that, but that doesn't tell me a lot. Who is Sephira? What do you do? What do you like? What are your goals? What are your interests?
You see, a candle, that is burning, reflected from these mirrors, and like the fractal images of mirrors overlapping, reveal like this, like the thinnest sliver of an eye, like as if you're looking at one portion of the frame of an eye. It says, "I would like to be free."
That is something.
All right.
You see, there are
Oh.
things that keep me here. Some are of my own interest, others are above me. But I've been in this tree for so long that I can't remember what color is sunlight, and what does the earth feel like.
I will say nothing, but I will do a little bow.
And with that, you hear a faint as the door unlocks behind you.
We'll head to Gallagher and we'll see you soon, Sephiroth. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, fair harbor.
I'm sure we can reconvene in some place that's a little more private.
All right. Well, once you step out of the doorway, do you guys leave it open or do you close it behind you?
Definitely close it behind me.
All right, you close it behind you. You stand out in this like loft attic like area above the tavern. I'm gonna turn this off because I'm getting really laggy. Say you guys kind of stand in this area. This is pretty private, but you're free to go anywhere you want to be more private if you feel like you need to be.
On a
Hold up.
hunch, I'd bet that if we wanted to find out more about this guy, we could find out whoever it is on this island that makes mirrors.
That's a good point. We should probably
Well,
at least talk to the skeleton person.
Yeah, and I want to take a quick stop at the beams and blazes too. But we can go to whichever one first.
The Beans and Blazes is the one with the magical tomes?
Well, maybe. We don't know.
We don't know. Okay.
We know the shop.
Just
That's
go with
about it.
whichever one is the closest. We'll just go there.
All right. Well, the tumbling stuff is like right in the center. Let's see. Uh, Beams and Blazes is about 2 blocks to the west, and the Slippery Stool is 4 blocks to the east. So, the Beams and Blazes is closer, I guess.
Okay.
We could always, split the party and have like me and Floki go to.
No.
Let Tulu go by himself. He hadn't been. He needs. He might
One
cause
person
trouble
keep an eye on.
somewhere.
That was
You know
interesting,
how-
Block. We'll be back soon.
Oh dear. Oh, he stops you, grabs you by the sleeve, and says, "What did he say?"
Oh, well, he's got a job for us to do. I hope you understand we're keeping it in confidence.
But you're going to do it?
We'll see. We're new here and trying to find our way around a bit.
I understand, but if you're not planning to help him, just please be honest with him.
How do you know him?
He pauses for a moment, and you can see someone who is looking for the right words to say to describe something. And for a moment, he's like, "I've been here since I was a boy. My father would have conversations up in that room for hours, and he never told me what it was. But one day he left me this place, this tavern, and well, they say it's a magical place. Ties to the Orthheart itself. And I just recently have had the courage to speak with him. I guess you could say we're roommates. But I've been quite distant for most of my life.
Do you trust the guy? Is he a friendly guy?
I've seen him devour people alive. But
What's he look like?
Mostly snot,
Right.
entrails. But I've also seen him be the most kind and generous being the Isles have ever known.
Dungeon Master,
Yes.
I would like to utilize Key
Okay.
to use Heart Sight
All right.
on this individual.
On block.
On block,
All right.
I would like to attempt to suss out
Mhm.
specifically his emotions towards Sephiro.
All right. You sense first of all, fear, absolute fear, a fear of the unknown. You also sense a great sorrow and regret, as one would sense in someone that has been what's the word I'm looking for? Unwelcoming, very unhospitable. Obviously, I don't know how clear it is to you guys, but this being has been in that room for who knows how long, and he ignored it for a very long period of time. So you sense a lot of regret, but you also sense a great deal of respect, and something you could deem as companionship.
All right, right.
But that's mostly what you get from Hearthstones.
And I end my turn.
Okay. But yeah, as you guys are standing here, he says, "It's hard to explain, but um, he left a lot of his wealth to the city, and I don't know by what means he acquired said wealth, but my father always spoke highly of this person, and he goes through a great deal to keep himself unknown to a lot of people." He looks at Tulu and he says, "Whoever handed you this note is one who remembers the city the way it was, long before it was ever deemed a city."
Interesting. Okay.
And he looks down at the note, which is like ink all over it, where it's been slowly translated. You can see he's like crossed out different words that he thought might have been. And he says, "This individual in the note calls you very important. And clearly you are champions, I will give you that, but how important can you be?" He kind of shakes his head. And he says, "Please just be honest with him. That's all I ask."
Honesty's my middle name, so we're good there.
Floki, we don't have a lot of leads yet, and if nothing else, it's interesting that he seems to have the same goal as you, at least on the surface. We have a lot that we can learn there, at least. It could give us a lead into other things that we want here.
Yes,
Or he could devour us. That's also a possibility.
Oh, I
Think you
very
would have
gamey.
done that before.
I think, yes, this is it. This is interesting. There hasn't, I don't know. When
Don't
we've been
think he
across,
would give us the key, tell us to do the job, and then devour us. If he's going to devour us, I think he would have done it.
well, maybe he just wants to, like, learn if we taste good. But
Like
we
how?
he he's clearly old, and that's interesting. And I've just been thinking we've been around these isles, and there's not a lot of really old things. There's some, but a
That's a
lot of
good
it's
point.
kind of recent. It's just people who show up and just sort of make towns. But there's this character here is old, and clearly he had a thing going, and it changed at some point. Now, what that looks like, whether it was amicable or not, isn't clear. But he's not happy with where he's at now. There's a lot of unknowns that could become knowns here, which could be pretty interesting. Perhaps he has some great insight into things. He clearly seems to be out of the loop a bit, I think, but presently, but there still might be a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just curious. Seems like a rather interesting character.
I like the guy.
Seems like a rather interesting character.
Aye. To the shop then, and then we go see Galligan.
All right. You guys make your way downtown, passing by a couple of different places. So I'm gonna pull up my map here real quick. You pass a place called Beauty by the Bird's Eye, Bobbles Bobbles, the Pickled Limb, the lively lamp, the kettle's cry, a place called Bonkers, and eventually you make your way to the slippery stool. This shop from the outside you can see is covered in large bottles, vials, and different glassware that is kind of hard to. I guess it would be like beakers, things of that sort. And as you open the door, this very strong acidic smell, almost like you would expect from a winery, comes and tickles your noses. As you hear the clinking and clanking of glassware throughout the shop, you hear a voice kind of distant says, "No, we're fresh out of hair removal. You'll have to come back tomorrow." Oh, sorry. I thought you were someone else. Stool. Please have a seat. And basically, in front of you is a countertop with 5 different bar stools in front of it. And there are these candelabras that kind of hang from the ceiling, each lit with a candle that kind of gives it this weird ambient light as it's reflecting off of all of the glassware around you, almost reminiscent of being in a room full of mirrors, but much more coherent. As a human leans forward across the bar, he sets his elbows on there. His face is kind of gaunty. He's got a little bit of scruff on his chin, which is like very dark and black. He has these ears, which kind of like his earlobes droop down kind of low. And as he crunches down, he's got this mostly tight clothing on, except for this large, almost like a boa of a bright brown fur that he has on his shoulders. As he sits down or leans against the countertop, and he goes, well, what are we looking for? Got all kinds of salves, potions, brews. Most of it's crafted here, so I'm afraid we don't have lots of the popular picks. But if you know, if you're looking for something bizarre, we probably have it here.
Would your name be Gallagher by chance?
Uh,
Galligan?
Yes. Have we met?
Oh, I thought
are
we were
you?
going to the other store.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Oh,
there
That's
aren't as
okay.
many
That's
books
okay.
around here
No,
as
no,
I
no,
thought.
we're good. We're here.
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, well,
That's
I
cool.
always you asked, so I said okay. Well, we're gonna go do that.
We
We'll
just
go do
got turned around a little bit is all.
Yeah. We'll still go to the other store.
If you're looking for the Kettle's Cry, it's just across. If that's what you're.
Well, look, a friend of yours, or at least someone who claims to be so, gave us this key. And I put it on the counter, and I should move it forward toward him.
He looks at it, looks at you. He says, "Who are you?"
Well, you might know us as the Crimson Skipperdoos. Well, what is it, the thing they call us? Doesn't sound very nice.
The blood.
Skippers.
Blood Skippers, or, yeah, that.
His face doesn't change. He looks pretty unimpressed, and he's like, all right. Are you?" He like holds it up and looks at it, and goes, "And where'd you say you found this?"
A person called Cifero asked us to deliver it to you.
Everyone, go ahead and give me an insight check request.
What?
20.
15.
9.
You can't hide anything from me, Gallagher.
Or me.
Fagrin, for a moment, you believe what he says next, but then after everyone else, the way that their eyes looks as you look at your companions, you realize that he is lying. And everyone else, you quickly understand that what he says next, he lies when he says it, with a faint hesitation in his voice. He says, "Well, I don't know who that is, but thank you for returning this, stranger." He turns and he opens this case, and you can see different keys are hanging from this these little brass hooks inside this case, and he hangs it in the only free hook that was left. Um, as he closes it back, I'm gonna say Floki can give me a perception check at disadvantage because you have key to see anything, any type of information you guys can glean from the keys before he puts it away.
What does a 12 get me?
With 12, you happen to notice that each of the keys in there had a rune on it, and each of them were a different shape. But Key lacked the knowledge to understand it, and you only got a glimpse of it, so you're unable to determine anything else. But what you do know is it was part of a set, or rather, these keys have all been united. Um, he closes it, tucks it underneath the counter, and turns back to you. Says, "Thank you. You can take this back to wherever. Actually, finders keepers, right?" And he pulls up a large bag of gold, sets it down, opens it up, pulls a single piece out, and slides it across to you guys. Puts the bag back under the table. Says, "Thank you."
Well, hey, before we leave, Galligan, you said you had potions and all kinds of stuff. What's your most powerful thing you got here?
Uh, you mean my most expensive?
Yeah.
Hang on one moment. He begins to look through his inventory, and he says, how tall are you? 5'4"?
Me?
Yeah, how tall are you?
I'm about 3 foot nothing.
Okay, 3 foot nothing. He looks at you, and he measures you up. And he pulls up a vial. This vial looks like 1 inch long, and it glows like a bright neon yellow. And he says, "How tall would you like to be?"
You mean forever and ever?
No, it would last about 24 hours. But this right here would make you approximately 6 feet taller.
Oh, that's cool. How much does that cost?
This little baby, about 300 gold.
Oh, I can't afford that. I'll have to come back later. Maybe some other time we can do business.
Uh, all right. I have lots of different concoctions if you'd like something less expensive. Maybe something from this rack. And he pulls up this what looks like a laboratory rack of different vials, and he puts them down, and he says, "This one lets you see the color blue even in total darkness. This one here, what? Hang on." He like reads the description. He goes, "Oh nope, that's poison. This one is," and he like shakes it. He goes, "Nope, that's not what I thought it was either." And he like you quickly you realize that he's not really great at his job. And surely I have something you could be interested in. What here? What do you like? You like feeling light as air? What do you like to impress the ladies? I mean, what do you like to do?"
You mentioned poison. What kind of poison was that? And I'll
Uh,
take the gold coin off the counter.
uh this is black bitters. It's harvested from the ash stone.
Interesting. What does it do?
If I remember correctly, it numbs all of your senses, uh, creates temporarily blindness.
How much would that run me?
Depends on how much you got. Little guy here said he didn't have that much money. I don't know how much you have.
Well, I got a little walking around money. We completed a job, but I'm not uh, wealthy.
Uh, give it to you for 100.
I don't know. How much, Dungeon Master? How many uses would you guesstimate I could get out of that vial
Oh,
on
it's
Key's arrows?
keys, arrows. Probably 3.
Oh gosh, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of expensive. Hey, would you happen to be willing to tell us the significance of that rack of keys you had?
Uh, who are you? You guys are a
Uh,
part of a band, right, or something?
I will reach out my hand and say, I am Floki the Lost.
He looks really unimpressed, and he kind of scratches his forehead, and he's like, "That's you're at Deepstone, part of Ukshay, in case you're
Shake
lost.
my hand.
All right. Um, look, I don't know why I should be impressed, but I'm not. I don't have any. You
Does he
say you
shake
got
my
this.
hand?
No, he doesn't shake your hand. He like puts his hands firmly on the countertop, and he's like, I don't know who you guys are or why you're in my shop, but thank you for returning the key. I thank you for that." And he kind of looks at each of you, and he locks eyes with Fagrin, and he says, "I thank you for the key. I don't know." And he just pauses, and you feel this awkwardness. And Fagrin, this is an awkward tension that you feel with a lot of people, and it's like there's a disconnect between you and these land lovers. Like every time you're on shore, you have these awkward conversations with people, and like, why are people so weird sometimes? And you feel this uh, almost like a clashing resonance with this person, and he says something to you, but the words get distorted in your head. And like as they hit you, it's almost just like static. And you get the sense that something else is in play here, something supernatural, um, but you don't know exactly what it is being Fagrin.
I hear what he told Favorite.
Yeah, you basically hear him say, I don't know uh, why you're here or what you're doing, but I'm not impressed by you people and I have nothing to tell you.
I would like to use Fey presence.
Fey presence. Okay, so you would know their location.
No.
Okay, what is Fey
This
presence?
is each creature in a 10-foot cube from me must make a wisdom saving throw DC 14 or become charmed by me.
All right, DC 14. Let's see. He rolls a 17.
Lame. Very lame.
Very lame.
Would
He
use my
you see
divine sense.
divine senses, Fey fiend, undead, evil,
Detect good and evil.
detect good and
You can until the end of the turn, you can sense anything affected by a howl spell, celestial find, or undead within 60 feet.
you feel. Oh man. I think what happens is you pick up on this static, but you get the idea that this is something beyond that. Uh Kuroki, you have seen extreme things happen to extreme situations. You remember the explosion on the boat, and how it was a massive force of pressure. And you have been around casters when they're casting super powerful spells. You get the inclination that this person is under a spell, but you don't know the spell or the nature of the spell. You just get the you as you are giving out your divine sense, you're reaching yourself out. You feel a presence of a magic that you can't touch or describe.
They start giving Vagrant side eyes. Like something's funky going on, side eyes.
Well, pleasure to meet you, Gallagher. And maybe we'll do business again in the future. And I just get up and I say that we head back to Sephiroth since he's close by and in this matter.
Alrighty.
All right, so you guys head back towards the tree.
Yeah.
Okay, you make your way back to the tree.
Once we
Sorry?
are out of
Mhm.
the shop, I would like to let Vagrant know why I was giving him side eyes. Like, be like, there he was under spell. Something powerful was casting that spell, but I don't know what it was or who it was.
Interesting.
Wild. Yeah, I wonder what was going on there.
All right, you make your way back to the tree. Everyone, give me a dexterity saving throw at advantage as you're walking in.
Well, how far away was that other shop? Well, we can
It's
go there after. But it
yeah,
does.
it's not far. It's a couple walks the other way.
21.
All right,
10.
all right.
Did you say Dex?
Yep, dexterity saving
You
throw.
do get a +3 if you're within 10 feet of me when we do this.
13.
Good, because I need it.
25.
All right.
9.
9. So all of you walk confidently in. Floki almost trips, but a hint of magic from Kleroki helps him keep his footing. Fagrin walks with confidence as his land legs are fully unlocked and he's able to walk. Tulu, who tries to skip his way everywhere he goes, catches his toes on the last root and rolls his way in. A large cheer of laughter comes from patrons nearby as they watch you guys enter, and Tulu tumbles his way in. Having made such an entrance, Block looks up over the counter and sees you all come back and anxiously comes to the edge of the counter. Says, "Oh, back so soon."
It was much of anything what we were asked to do, but we figured we'd go ahead and let him know if that was okay.
Oh, yes. He reaches in his pocket and he hands you the key to the door upstairs. He says, "Just bring it back, please, when you're done."
Aye. And we go up and talk to... I keep wanting to call him Cicero, like from Skyrim. And that
Yeah, kind of.
thankfully isn't the case.
My mind goes to Sephiroth.
He is creepy, kind of, I guess. So you guys make your way back up to the room. You unlock the door, open it up. Everyone go in.
Yep.
Okay. Do you close the door behind you?
Yep.
Okay. The mirrors kind of dangle freely.
Hello again, Sephiroth. Here we are. Took the key to your friend. He...
Was he excited to retrieve it?
to be honest, Sephiroth, I wouldn't say that's the case. He sort of seemed rather indifferent. Took the key and, wouldn't say much about it.
Hopefully he's not forgotten our agreement.
He was actually kind of standoffish to us. He got kind of hostile. We did see he had a box with a bunch of other keys, and it looked like this was the last one. But we got some strange senses of him while we were there. Like some strange magic was upon him, powerful magic.
Do you want to mention what you sensed, Kuroki?
Yeah, he was under some kind of spell. By something very powerful.
Troubling. Galligan was one of the last people I have spoke to from the outside. I thought we
Yeah.
would. Yes.
This feels similar to the presence or pressure of the explosion, the evil ship explosion.
Only in the sense that it's powerful and clearly magical. He continues. He says, "Thank you for retrieving the key for me. I'm sorry he was not more grateful." Here, you hear a clink, 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 clink as this large diamond rolls on the floorboards in front of your guys' feet. Like faint blue, like the sky. This large gem, about the size of your fist, Fagrin, kind of tumbles right in front of your boot. And he says, "Hopefully you have done this on your own terms and not because I asked."
I see. Well, That is quite generous, but actually, something even more valuable it might be to us, Ifero, would be information. That would be something of great value. And more than anything, right now I'm curious about that treaty that you showed us.
You hear like a nervous whimper. Could you return the diamond then?
I suppose so. It's your diamond. And I take it and I bring it back.
Eventually, as you're taking a couple steps forward, the mirrors part ways, and you see in the shadow behind. Give me a perception check at disadvantage.
At disadvantage. One was a nat 20.
What was your other one?
Sorry, it's at disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
A 4, yes. So that would be
right.
something like 6 or something. I don't
All right. You see, this mound of greenish flesh, is what your eyes were able to make out. But quickly the mirrors close back together, pinching your arm,
Ouch.
pressing a nerve where it's able to release your hand, so you kind of drop the diamond. But it doesn't make a sound as it uh, leaves your grasp. Um, you hear him say, "I could tell you about the treaty, but first, are we friends?"
You know, Sephiroth, you seem to... Honesty is something important to you. And you should know that you're speaking to a bunch of pirates. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm tempted to tell you we are. But I've lost a lot of people. And I thought I knew others. Some people that were my friends have turned their backs on me. And so friend is a very precious thing. And I want to be careful, in all honesty, how I extend that word again. But we did deliver the key. And we'd like to learn more about the island, about your, what you know of this place, of the people here. And in time, I think that is how people become friends, at least in my experience.
Maybe I should be more off-puttish towards people. I have been betrayed, as you have been betrayed, by numerous people I have considered friends.
I'm very sorry.
The treaty was made 23 years ago and signed by the 12 houses of the Lords. And now it is not being reserved anymore. People look at it as a blank piece of paper. People are blinded by their pride, blinded by the gold, blinded by a bloodlust.
Houses of what?
The 12 houses. That's what it says.
Oh, it just says 12 houses. Okay.
What was the substance of the treaty? What was it about?
The Isles. The Free Isles. Each of them a connection to places beyond. Treaty was formed so that each of these places could be used freely amongst each other. A commerce, a trade, a sharing amongst all peoples.
How has the treaty been betrayed or violated?
Tell me, what is the most valuable item you hold, Springwalker?
I hold physically on my person, though. Oh, possibly my wand.
And why is your wand of use to you?
Well, it allows me to affect the world around me, and it's a connection to my patron.
In the same way, the Isles are of great value to its peoples. If I were to use your wand in a way you do not like, then would you be happy with that?
Oh no, probably not.
The treaty was there to keep everyone happy. And clearly, there are those who are not.
Well, Sathro, I'm happy. Just so you know, I'm happy because I'm your friend. I'm your friend until you give me a reason not to be. So you and I are friends, okay?
I wish I could say the same. But
I'm not,
Fairharbor has just taught me that friend is a very valuable thing that should not be handed out freely.
I'm not your friend.
I would like you to be.
I just told you I was your friend. So can't you be mine?
Um, hang on a second. I'm really trying to compose myself because I'm like dying of laughter here, but this is like a very serious moment for him. Basically, Fagrin just taught him that friendship is the most valuable thing he has, and he has like very little to offer otherwise. And you hear a faint, awkward silence for just a moment, and he says, "Hopefully, we can reach friendship."
But you already reached it with me. But if you don't want to be my friend, that most people like me. But that's okay. I lower my head and just kind of start walking away.
Ooh. I was thinking about the double fruits and your questionings of them, and I just happened to remember from long ago when they first arrived here from the Feywild. They are quite tasty from what I hear, though I cannot digest them. Halflings have a special knack for growing them. I also remember a named Lubonk. Lubonk was the one that commercialized them. Strange though, the double fruits are rich, intertwined deeply with the city, and I can't happen to remember.
Sifro,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sifro, could you happen to just show us this treaty again?
Give me a
Like
persuasion check.
literally, like in the air.
Yeah, like give me a persuasion check.
I have a saying for that. I have a magic jacket.
Yeah, so you have advantage.
Alrighty. This I think is probably the fastest way to do that. I got a 25. 2d20, 4 and 20. I got a nat 20 plus 5 is 25.
What you see is the edge of a piece of paper where you can see different markings of houses. You were once well versed in the bureaucracy of Eltaroth. And basically, once a company or a bloodline had reached a certain nobility, a certain status, they were given the seal, a mark of approval, and you recognize some of these to be similar. You see different houses, and you can count there are 12 of them. Though the glimpse that you are given is so fast, um, because this individual tries to hide this information from you. But something about how you are honest with him allows you to see the following. Um, so that hereby all isles be used by all peoples. And then it continues. You can see that there is not only signed by several individuals, but you can see there are like paragraphs where it has been amended by several, where it has like been added to um, and rewrote and translated and rewrote. It's an incredibly old document that is incredibly worn by time. In fact, as you're looking at it, the once you near the top of the page and you're trying to read it, it's actually faded and worn out and nearly impossible to read. But from the glimpse you are given, you are able to tell that multiple houses have signed off on it, and it is incredibly old, and it has been um, translated several times.
So it doesn't seem older than 23 years?
Definitely, yes. Obviously, yes. It looks incredibly old.
Interesting.
Okay, so it's been amended. It hasn't been touched. Well, it's still a long time ago. Two more things. Sephiroth.
Yeah.
I see that has had much ink applied to it and been changed many times. But I see that it is something precious to you and that it's been left abandoned for a long time. One of the houses is at Fair Harbor.
There's no response.
I see. Well, it seems maybe I have a stake in this anyways, then. And I turn back to everybody else and to Floki and I say, Floki, this may be the closest thing that we have to what you had described. It seems that our ancestors once had the very thing that you want.
Hmm. Well, that's contractual legitimacy anyway, but actually restoring such a circumstance that requires doing things.
Aye, it does.
Tulu kind of kicks the
sorry.
ground. Tulu kicks the ground and says, well, if I was Sapphiro's friend, I'd help restore it, but oh well.
Yeah, I think we should restore.
I would like to pat Tulu on the head and say, Sephiroth, do you have any allies or associates that would be interested in restoring this?
Galligan was the one I thought of, but there are others. If they can remember.
We may not be friends yet, Sephiroth. But it just so happens that destiny had brought this crew together months ago now. And when we arrived to this island, we were inspired by it. Well, one in particular, and I look at Floki.
Wave.
And it sounds very much like this thing that you once said existed. If you'll help us, we might be able to become friends at least. We'd like to see this come about.
hang on a second. Out of character, I have to look up something real fast because he was asking me about something. And I was trying to do it discreetly, but now I'm just going to be honest and say, hang on, I have to look something up. Okay. Is that the right? This is... I don't think that's the right page. Hang on. There we go. Now I'm going the right way. I was going backwards in time, and that didn't make sense. Session 14. There we go. Okay. You asked him if there are others. He says, Augusto was one that I remember. He has traveled to Solemn many times.
What was his name again?
Augusto.
Augusto.
Where did you say he was?
Hang on, I gotta go back to the other page. Because he is... Augusto is... he explains to you that he is at a place called Bobbles.
Hey, we know where that is.
Yep, it's on the store. It's on the street. But also, out of character, he also says that he has been to Solemn many times. Then Sephiroth continues, and he says, I trust many of the rules of these streets. They have been a great friend to me for many years. Though sadly, like Galligan, they are forgotten.
Did you say a rue or a grew?
Ruse. So Ruez.
Ruez.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow.
That is not a real word.
I don't think it is.
It is now.
It is now. It is suddenly a word.
Just like Sephiroth, just like, all of it. It is now. So this is where we're going to go ahead and end the session. You guys making a deal with Sephiroth. And you have a couple names of people that he has once trusted. But out of character too, you want to find out more about Double Fruits. You can continue to keep asking people. But Valcrone told you when you first arrived that most of that is actually handled outside of the town.
Yep. Out to the outskirts where the farmers live.